Hey everyone, you're most welcome to my channel. Today we shall be learning how to scrape all Google products. So let's get started. Before I start, my name is Ronnie Atwaire, aka Afroboytex, and I'm glad that you chose this particular channel for this particular type of content. So thank you so much. Let's see what we have to do today. So actually, I wanted to do this with beautiful soap and scrapey alongside requests, but I didn't, and I used Selenium. So why did I have to do this? So I was actually inspired to do this tutorial by the write-up that I did because I'm participating in the Google Solution Challenge 2022. So if you don't know about Google Solution Challenge, I'm going to put a link in the description, so please you can follow it up to read more about the Google Solution Challenge. It's for the student developers at various campuses. So the challenge I had, I've already created my file. So the challenge I had, if we go to the platform of Google developers products, these are products that developers they can use to in their day-to-day operations to achieve certain services. So as you can see, there are 16 pages of breadcrumbs that are listed here, but this website, if you click on the next page, it loads dynamically. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is, you can see here in the link, the URL link, it doesn't tell us if it is page 2 or it is page 3. I did a little hack by doing this page goes to 2. Still this wouldn't work, and wouldn't actually, it will just take you to the default page. So what it tells me here is that this page is a little bit trickier. So as it loads dynamically, so it's basically maybe React or Angular, but I believe it's Angular for Google, because I think Google uses Angular. So I wanted to scrape all these products. If you go to the last page, you can see they have YouTube subscribe button as the last product. So I don't know how many they are, but we shall find out, me and you. Actually, I wrote a blog, I wrote a tutorial about this. So if you consider reading, you also check in the description for this. So I'm taking something called Mpampe. Mpampe is a crowdfunding application, which is a hybrid. Actually, it allows fiat currency and crypto. So I wanted to find out what various Google services I can use in my project, because this solution challenge requires us to use any product or any service that is offered by Google. So I also leave the description about Mpampe in the link about Mpampe in the description box. So as you've seen, that's the challenge. So let's start coding straight away. If I did Control-Shift-I, that is to inspect this application, how it actually is, before I even start scraping. I go to Elements. So if I clicked on this little icon that allows me select something from the DOM, so if I clicked here, it will tell me the class that actually we have here, YouTube for Android. So it is an H3. It is actually living inside that div, that is a dev site add content wrapper. So if I clicked on click back here, then I click on maybe this page here, it will tell me that actually, as you can see what I'm telling you about, it loads dynamically. So there's no callback URL that is actually being rendered in the browser directly. So it's loading from it's loading the, so whenever you click, that means it loads the next current page that you've clicked. As you can see, it has an index of 0. Index starts from 0, then it's page 1. So if I clicked on 16, because what is selected right now, it actually has some other attribute called selected. So this is the challenge that I had, but I came along with it. And so let's get started with coding. So we shall be using Selenium. If you don't know what Selenium is, please refer to the tutorial I did about Selenium. It's an intro about Selenium. If you want to install the different web drivers, the different browsers, please refer to that article. I'm also going to put the link in the description. So to get started, we're going to be using our web driver, of course. So I've created my file. It's called gproducts.py. You can name your file anything you want. So from Selenium, we're going to import web driver. Then we're going to import time. We shall see why we need time. Then from Selenium, we are going to have to import from Selenium web driver. We are going to have there's a class called common, and by there's a function I'm looking for which is called, this is the latest Selenium. We use by. We shall see why we need by. Then that's it for now. Maybe the other thing that you may need is pandas. So we may need pandas, so we're going to import pandas. So to import pandas is simple. We just say import pandas as pig. Pandas is going to help us with data dropping. We shall just use it to create columns that we shall drop later, dump onto a CSV file. So that's it. Maybe let's start coding. Our URL is going to be this one. So you go back, you copy this URL without this actually. Even if you copied with that, so let's come back to our code. We paste that because that's what it's our target URL. Then the next thing maybe we can do, we're going to initialize the web driver. So initializing our web driver is very simple. You can create a variable. We call it driver. Then webdriver.chrome, because I've already installed Chrome. Actually, I had to update my Chrome using Chocolate. Chocolate is a Windows installation program, and that is I can use admin or PowerShell. That's admin with a common command prompt, or you can use actually PowerShell to install or to update the web driver. I'm also going to put the link in the description for you to download the drivers, the different drivers. Gecko is for Firefox. Chrome driver is for Chrome. I believe there is also other different drivers that you will also have to check out for yourself. So we're going to say webdriver.chrome since we are using Chrome. Then we're going to create a reusable code that is functions to cater for the waiting times, and then we should also have sleep time in querying the DOM as it goes dynamically. Why? Because you've already seen that when you click on the next button, it actually takes some time for it to load, and then that means we shall have to have those timing, so it will wait for the DOM to load actually. So we're going to create a function. We're going to call it web. Let's call it, you can call it anything. Let's call it web wait time. So here we are waiting on the website to load. So we shall just return, there's a function called implicitly wait. It's under actually driver, so we can, because we already initialize our driver, so our Chrome driver, so we can just say driver.implicitly. Yes, that's the function name. So you're waiting implicitly here. Implicitly wait. You're going to wait for just 10. Then that's it for waiting for the website to load. Then we shall also create a function for us to, before we hit maybe the next button, we might need to wait to sleep. Basically that's why we imported time for us to sleep or to wait a little bit, such that we can maybe now hit maybe the button or the next button, or then query the DOM. So maybe we're going to call a function, call it web sleep time, which takes nothing, so it will also just return time.sleep time. That's it for the functions that you might use for now. Then I'm actually going to try to create self-descriptive variables. That means they're actually clear. They can actually tell you exactly what is happening, even without commenting, even without explaining. So I'm going to have now to call, maybe before I get the URL, I may need to call the web .wait time function here. We can just call it here so that the website loads. Then we also allow the DOM to, or even if we don't allow actually right now, because we waited enough, so that means we can get the URL. So we're going to say driver.get our URL, our target URL. Then that's it. We're going to dump this information into a list, or as you can see, if we go back to the website, let's first go back to the website. There are actually two things that are involved here. So this is the product name. We can call it title or name, product name. Then this is just a summary about the product. As you can see, this is WebRTC, which is an open framework for web that enables real time. So if I did this and then I clicked here on WebRTC, it tells me that actually this is a div. It reads in dev site card content wrapper, and it has all that information. But under that div, we have a div for the card content, which is the title, and WebRTC. Then you can see the summary. This is our summary. So that means we only need two things. So we shall be collecting information and dumping it in two lists. So let's go back to our code. Let's create a function. Let's create a function now. We call it all products. This is going to be, it's more of like our main function, because it's going to be querying the DOM. So from there, now we're going to find those documents, or those that data that we're looking for. So we can call it data. Let's call it data. We call it data. Then we call a locator function, which is driver. Driver.find. It's actually driver.find elements. We're going to find elements by now this is where now you get to find out if it is a class, if it's a tag, or whatever you'll be using. So since let's first go back to our website. Since it resides under dev site card content wrapper, we might choose to use this, or we can actually go with this inner div that has the content. This is just basically a wrapper. Then this has the content that we need. As you can see, if I highlight, it shows us, it's telling us what's happening. So that means our class that we need actually is the dev site card content, this one here. So it's a class, so you just copy this, come back to your code. So we're going to be calling class name. Then class name is going to be devsite.content. Yes, that's it. So we move on. So that means this helps us find elements. I think it dumps a list if you read the documentation about Selenium, it dumps a list. So we're going to be able now to query from that data. We query the different elements that are there. As you can see now, this is the inner div. If we now query the data that is in here, we are able to find or to get our information that we are looking for. So the information we need, that means we shall implement a for loop. So if we go back to our website, you can see it. If we close this here, it actually closes everything. So it means it's our main div. It's our outer div is this that contains the wrapper, everything, the information. But this div actually contains the information that you are actually looking for. So if we go back to our code, so we're going to use a for loop. For elements, we're going to say for elements. You can name this anything. For elements in data. So for elements in data, we're going to be able to query the different elements that we have, that particular div that we are looking at. So by default, this brings a list. That's why you are using the for loop, so that we iterate over and we get the information that we're actually looking for. So here now we're going to have variables. You can create variables now. You can say data title. And call it a data title. Then we can also maybe set data summary. Yeah, let's call it data title and then data summary. So data summary. So under data title, we're going to find now the elements in that subset. Now this is our children. Remember, we are using this. We already found out the elements under this, so we're going to be using elements which are in data, which is this data. So this is basically now moving the tree or finding the children under this elements. So finding the children, these are the elements that are in this data. So we're going to be using these elements to query the next information. So that means we shall be using we shall say data elements. We shall be saying data elements, then we shall find what we're actually looking for. So to do that, actually what you can do, you can call this now, you can maybe call it data elements. Let's call it data elements. So we can say data elements dot driver data elements. Actually, I don't need the driver. Yes, because we already called it here, so that means you are finding the children under here. So basically I need now to find element. Now we're finding an element, yes, in those elements. So we can say find elements, or we can actually just find elements also, or what, every element that is there, we can be able also to query it. So if you go back to, before even get to select what is using the CSS local selector, let's go first back to our page. As you can see, it's actually also a class. So all these are classes. It's a class which says no link hide, but you can actually even use this. You can use the tag, so you can select by tag. This class might be a little bit trickier, as you can see it. Let's select the tag, which is h3. So if I come here and I say by tag name, so we've seen that it's an h3. That means we do the same thing here also. But here, let's find out what we shall be using. We can actually use a class name, as you've seen. This has only a class. You can even use it with P. But let's go with a class. So click on it, select it. So by class name, paste it. Yeah, so far so good. So that means we have our information. So what we're going to do next is very simple. We are going to find out. We're going to dump now the data that we've collected from here, such that we do what? We be able to use it for for pandas. So maybe we can create a variable here, call them, maybe we can call this variable titles. Maybe you can call it title or titles. Then it's going to be a list, maybe also summary, which is also going to be a list. Let's make this beautiful. I like beautiful code. Yeah, this is better. So actually can call it titles. Let's call it titles, because since we are querying many or large information, large data, let's call it titles, then summaries. So now we're going to use a for loop to be able to loop through that information that we need. So to achieve this, we're going to say for title in data title. So actually this is going to be under here, for title in data title. We're going to have we're going to have to append the titles to the title to the titles list. So that means you're going to say titles dot append. This is titles dot append title. Yeah, that's it. So we're going to first run this and we see if what we're doing is right. Then we shall do for summary. Then we can say for summary in data, it's summary. Do the same thing. So we're going to say summaries that append summary. So to be sure that you're on the right track, let's first test this out. We're going to test this out. We're going to first run this program. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say all products. Let me call all products. Let's first run it here. Let's print the output out. If you print out, maybe let's print here. Let's print our titles. This is basically for debug. Then we print out our summaries. So we save this. If I go to my folder, it is this. I can just do cmd to automatically open where I am. Then I just run the application. So let's see if we are actually having our information being returned. So when you run that, Selenium automatically opens a browser. As you can see, it is saying Chrome is controlled by automated software. So it seems you have some output. Yes, this seems to be working. Maybe we can Control C to see actually if this is, let's see. Yeah, it's a web element. Yes, so you need to see web element to know that actually this is running. So Selenium web element. So these are actually all elements that we've queried. So that means so far so good. By default it comes as an object, a Selenium object. As you can see, this is a list. This end here shows that this is a list of all these objects that are in your web elements, Selenium web elements. Maybe to be able to have a better output, let's actually get the real title. Let's say title. Maybe just say text here. There's a method called text that actually extracts text for us. So let's save that. Let's first close this. Maybe here at the end, if this is done, let it quit. After running, we shall see the impact of that. Actually automatically closes Selenium. It closes the bot or the Selenium driver. So let's see if we get the text this time by running this again. It automatically opens the browser tab for us. So let's see behind. Yeah, actually it's happening. This is the information we need. So let's first do I'm going to do Control-C to stop from where I was. Let's do Control-C from here. As you can see, actually information is coming: create, manage, deploy, link your user accounts, create rich Google user accounts. So that means the information is actually coming through. But you also have empty data, null data here. As you can see, probably those the p tags or the h3 tags that you're trying to query here, which are not actually there yet. But you shall see how to handle this empty information or empty data. We can actually delete this and remove this. So we can see actions console. This is a title. If you go back to our website, go back to, let's close this, to actually page 1. It was basically querying page 1, which is the default page. This is actions console, is a title. Then the summary is create, manage, and deploy your action products. So if you go back to our output, you can see actions console, then create, manage, and deploy your actions is the next in the summary. So this is our list for the title. Then this is our summary actually. So we shall see how we can actually zip this and this to be able to make a meaningful output or CSV. That means this length should be equal to this length. The length of this list should be equal to the length of this list, because that's what we are querying elements that have data, which is actually a title and a summary. So there's no product or Google product that doesn't have a title and a summary. I already looked through, and of course it has to be a title and a summary. So this length should be equal to this length. This should be able to help us in debugging and easily zip these two lists together to create a meaningful CSV. So far so good. I can just maybe comment this out. That means we are good for now. Let me also comment this out for now. So what we are headed for is we are going to actually be able to click the button. As you can see, we cannot be able to get the next information until we click the button to load the information dynamically. So first and foremost, we're going to have we're going to call our web.waitTime function to allow us wait again. Then after doing that, we're going to also call a sleep function to allow the data to load dynamically. So wait sleep time. Then now we're able to query the information using a for loop. We're going to use a for loop to actually click on the button automatically. So this can be helpful if you're doing an online voting bot. You can, if someone has a voting, has something that is related to voting. For example, if it's voting maybe about a particular product, maybe the best, maybe person, no nominations, whatever, music awards, whatever, you can actually create a bot that can do what? That can go there and vote for that person. So you can generate these votes dynamically. You can generate these votes automatically by just running this script. I will be doing this tutorial after some time in the coming weeks, how you can create actually a bot that can actually vote. So moving on, so we're going to have to create we have a click method with a driver. So we are going to use a for loop here Why a for loop? Because there actually says 16 pages, as we've seen. There are 16 pages, so we're going to loop through here as we click on each of everyone until we reach 16. So to do that, you can say for, we can maybe call it for page in range from 1 to 17. So for page in range 1 to 17, we're going to call our click function, which we're going to first find the elements. We're going to find elements. We can find actually the element because it's going to be one element. So let's first look what element, which element do we need here. If you come and you see, if you do our DevTools again, and I select, I want to select the page number. So if I select 2, it tells me that this is a class pagination page number href div 2. So what we need is to be able to select on these numbers. So we select on these numbers. So to do this, you can actually use this class, which might be a little bit trickier because you have to move and maneuver through again. But we can actually use these numbers because I believe these numbers are only numbers on this website, on this entire website. So, and we can actually use these numbers to click on them and we move through. So what you can do, and you see these are hrefs, so you can use something called link text. It's a method in by that you can use to actually query and locate information on the DOM. So if you go back to our code, you can just say by link. It's going to be link text. So which the link text now? The link text that we need is going to be a page. So it's going to be a page, but if you go back, as you can see here, this is a string. This is a string, and I believe this is also a string. So every page is a string. How do I know this? We can actually we can run this and we see what I'm talking about. If I did print, if I did a print here and I said type page, or even that by default, even if actually I don't do this, let me just explain it here. By default, the information there is extracted in text format. So basically it's a string. So you're able to query that information by clicking on that string. So we're going to call it a string, then we pass in our page. Then after passing in our page, now we can call our click function. That's it basically. Yeah, that's it. This should be able to work. So now then we can now actually call, before we call, we can now actually call all products. Actually, we can call it now here. Yes, because now after clicking on that, let's call our all products that queries our information. Then we should again we sleep again for the data to load. So we shall need this information again, this function again. I think that's it. Now the data we have is going to be, as already seen, it's going to be empty strings. But let's first find out actually if our bot or what our code can actually click on that text. So if I save this and run our program again, so I will scroll down to see if actually the page is being clicked by the click method that we've defined. So let's scroll down. Let's scroll down to our let's scroll down to our page and see if it is actually being clicked. So you're still on page 1. Let's wait and see if it is actually being clicked. And on page 1 you have Analytics Hub, Analytics Management API. So let's wait and see. Yay! It's working. Wow! It's actually being clicked. Now you're on page 2. Wow, this is really working. Maybe you want to reduce the time to 5 so that you wait a little bit less time. So it's actually working. As you can see, now you're in Angular material design components for Angular. Wow, it's really working. This is nice. This is nice. So that means actually we can now as you see, now we're on page 3. So that means we can now actually query our information, or we can now actually query our data by just every time we look through the page, we query the information, we query the data, wait for it to load dynamically, then we get our information, we dump it somewhere. So now we're on page 3. As you can see, I'm not clicking on anything. Let me put my cursor outside. As you can see, it's automatically clicking by itself. And now we're now actually going to page 4. I just want us to stop on page 4, then we move on. Yes, so it's working. So I can come and terminate this. After terminating this, it actually automatically closes the browser for you. It closes the session. So that means you have our information coming through, or what we need actually. But now since we have our data and we have this working, so the only thing that is actually remaining is being able to dump this information to a list, which now we can dump again into a CSV file for later use. So this is the part that actually excites me. So we are going to first clean the information. We're going to clean the data that we have. We've already seen our data has empty information. We have null data in there. So we're going to be able to clean that data. We're going to use the powerful comprehensions, list comprehensions. If you don't know about list comprehensions, I'm going to be doing a tutorial about it. But I also have an introduction about our comprehensions as general comprehensions in Python. I'm going to leave the link in the description. So to clean our titles, simple. We can just say clean titles. Cleaned titles. It's going to be a list comprehension, remember. So we're going to say data for data in summary. In our summaries, if that data, maybe let's first do titles, since this is title. In titles, since you already appended our text there, so if that data, the condition now comes here, if that data is now, it's empty, you don't want it out, we want it out. We only want data that's not empty. We only want data that has actually information. So here, that's when the logic comes in. If that data is not equal to empty, that's the data we need. So we do the same thing here also for summaries. You can actually copy this, paste this, it's the same thing. Summaries, data, the titles, now it is summaries. That data is empty. So to know actually that this has worked, let's first print them out. Let's print cleaned information and see if it's actually happening or if it's actually working. So I can maybe say cleaned titles. I can maybe also call it my clean summaries in here. I can maybe say let me just not end or separate them. Let me just run this for now and see if it's actually working. Come back, run it again. Oh, we have some syntax error. So What's wrong? Clean titles, clean summaries. What did I do wrong? Syntax invalid syntax. So this is saying, oh, clean titles, data for data, and titles if data. Oh, actually this comes first. Sorry. Yeah, this comes first. Exclamation comes first. Is not equal to. That's actually like an actual sign. So we save again. We run our program again. We should be good now. Yeah, we are closing down. We are getting what we wanted, and the data is coming through. Our website is working. Our browser automation is working. So far, so good. Maybe what I can do in order to bring out that data that we need, let me come and change this to 3 so that you don't take lots of time here. Let's just get from page 1 to page 2. Page 1 to page 2, upper bound out range function. Remember, that's how it works. This in, upper bound out. So this is inclusive, this is exclusive. So let's run this. Let me first cancel this program. Let's run, cancel, then we run again so that we don't waste time. This is just basically testing and debugging. So let's just listen in. Let's first listen in. Let's first see if our browser is working or is loading. So let's scroll down where the breadcrumbs are. Yes, so we should be from page 1 to page 2. That's the data. That's the only data we need, just for testing to see if it's really working. It's actually being clicked, and information is actually being appended to the titles list. Then from appending the titles list, now we are cleaning the data. Yes, it's working. Now we click, we're on page 2. So that means we should be able to create that information also on page 2. We append. Append just adds on the existing data. So it should be able to, let's see if it actually closes, and after iterating through the next page, yeah, it's working. It has closed by itself, and we have our information coming through. As you can see, this is the actions console, actions and Google account linking. Then we come, we have a list. We have another list that actually describes what information that we need. Yay, we are good to go. So that means we since our function is working, we can now query all the pages. Then I can actually comment this out. I can now actually create data frames. We're going to create data frames for our CSV file. So creating data frames, we've already imported pandas as PT. We're going to call our product, we're going to call our data frame products. You can call it product data frame. Okay, let's name it. I can name it anything you want. It's just going to be a data frame. So let's call it product data frame. Then we call our pandas. Then there's a function called data frame. Hopefully that's a spelling, or that's a correct syntax. It has something called, actually this is a capital F. Yes, I may want to look through the documentation to see. So we're going to be able to have this information zipped together. Remember, each title corresponds to summary. So you want the title for summary, title summary, title summary, title summary. So to be able to achieve this, we are going to use a zip function. Zip function actually basically gets two lists together and outputs a tuple, or you want to call it a tuple. So it outputs them corresponding to indexes, the indexes. So in here we're going to have a list, since data frame takes in a list. Then we're going to have a zip function. A zip function is going to take in these clean titles, then it's going to take in clean summaries. Yeah, we are good to go. So yes, I think that's it. Unless if you need to import, if you have maybe to make information meaningful, maybe let's first see if this is actually working. Let's print this out. Let's dump this to CSV. So we can just say product, the data frame. There's a method called to CSV. Straight from this, you can just say to CSV. So to do it's a CSV. Hopefully this is the function, and we're going to call our CSV. You can call it anything. I'm going to call it Google Products. I'm going to call it Google Products.csv. Yes, and Google Products.csv. So we save. So after saving, we run our product. We run our program and see if it's actually working. Maybe let's first print. Let's remove. Okay, so we have already commented them out. Let's run this. Maybe to run the test function, let's first close this program. Let's test with 3. Let's test with 3. And we'll see if it's actually working. Let's see if we have any errors in the console. There are no errors, so far I think so good. So if I go to a page, I want to see it actually being clicked. There's a function here you can do. You can actually come here and say driver to maximize, I think, so that you automatically maximize the window. Let's first comment this out for now. See if this is working. Yeah, it's working. So we want only those 2 pages. We want your first page and the second page. So we want that of page 1 and page 2. We see if it's actually being able to dump that information into a CSV file. So yeah, it has finished. These are minor errors. The reason why I have this error, as you can see, a device attached to the system is not functioning. Basically, it's because I have a mouse. I have a mouse that's not functioning properly, or it's lacking some driver updates, and that's why you're seeing this error. It's a Windows, it's an operating system error. There are minor errors. They don't disturb, or they do not affect the running of a program. But I'm going to put a link in the description how you can solve these errors if you're getting this same problem, same errors with me. But they're just warnings telling us what is actually happening. So if we go back to our root folder, which we want to see if actually our CSV file, yes, it's there. Let's open this and we see which information was dumped. Yeah, it's working. It's working. It's working. It's working. As you can see, it's bringing us action console. Does this. So it's actually working. Maybe it's giving us 0, 1 by default columns. Maybe we want to put headers here. You can just say columns. We create our own columns here instead of 0, 1. We can just say product, maybe title, summary. That's the way how we work. So we can actually now, we know that our function is working. So let me delete this so that we don't overwrite it or affect our running of a program again. So, let me delete that. Then I come and now maybe increase the page to 17. Then under here, before we close off our function here, these two for this. Then under here you can say you can actually say columns. I can say columns. Then these columns are basically going to be product. I can say product title. Let's call it product. Then summary. I'll save again. Yes, I'll save again. Then that's it. That's it. If this function is too long, I can just do a little trick here. Put this to the next line. I can actually even remove this. Just do this. So let's run our program. We're going to test with 3 again, so that means we shall be good. We're going to test with 3, then we run our program. So the web wait time is actually helping us here wait for the entire web initialize our Chrome driver to actually wait for loading. Then the sleep time function helps us to sleep or wait before we perform the next function on the DOM. So as you can see, it automatically even takes us there. Can reduce the time, but since I put that to 10 because sometimes Google servers also they can detect automation. These guys are good, so you may want to leave it at 10. So just waiting for this to close. Don't interrupt anything so that I'm sure actually our data is coming through. Okay, automatically closes. So let's go to our root folder and we see, yeah, we have a product. Then we open it. Does it have a summary? Product and summary. Yeah. Today you learned something with Selenium, with Python list comprehension. You learned Python dumping with CSV and pandas. You learned how to scrape a dynamic website like Google that uses maybe Angular, maybe that uses React. I do tutorials, I do videos about such stuff, about such content, and if you like this particular type of content, please hit that subscribe button. Please show me some love, show me some engagement. Please, if you have any criticism, it's welcome. Please put that in your comment section and the reply section. Thank you so much for today, and I'm going to put the GitHub repo also in the description box. Please check it out, star it, and contribution is also welcome. Thank you so much for today. That's it. And maybe one last thing that's actually has been bugging me. Maybe before I leave, we can actually see how we can actually see how we can do what we can remove. We can remove those errors that we have, the main errors that we have. So we can import. There's something called options in the Selenium driver. These options can help us actually achieve a lot. So if you go back to your code on top, just where I am, and you import, let's do it from here, from Selenium. From Selenium, we're going to import from Selenium, actually from Selenium WebDriver. I think it's under common. It's under Chrome options, so you can say from this Chrome options, we're going to import options. Yes, we're going to import options. Then we can maybe put our code here for fixing that. We just say first we need initialize it. Let's first initialize this. It's actually capital O. Then we're going to fix it by saying options dot add. There's a method called options dot add experiments, I think. Yes, the experimental. This will be the experimental option. And it actually takes in exclude. We're going to exclude the switches. So exclude switches. Then we're going to disable to maybe enable. You can say enable logging. Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing you need to do to be able to fix those errors. You can try running this by putting this. I'm going to put all the entire quadruple in the program, and maybe if you're not having Windows, you may not be experiencing any errors. But that's it for now. Once again, please hit that subscription button. You can also turn on the notification bell so that you get notifications every time I upload something. Thank you. Have a blessed one. Have a good one.